We have Chris, who is watching us on Facebook Live, says, Governor, bail reform is not working, despite what the judiciary says. The ballot question was vague and misleading. Now violent offenders are being released on nothing more than a promise.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They're not being released on nothing more than a promise. They're given bracelets where if they're not where they're supposed to be and they break the bracelet, they get arrested. They have officers who they have to report into. And these are nonviolent people in the main who are not causing problems when they get out.
Wood Ward, a no-show in court this morning, skipping an appearance on a burglary charge.
Your Honor released him on the 17th. It was only 3 days after he was released from here that it is alleged that he committed a burglary in Cranford.
Middlesex prosecutor Andrew Carey upset and in court.
My job to protect the community is one of the things that keeps me up at night.
But what this guy doesn't say is that it's saving tens of millions of dollars for states and counties who have to house these folks. And what he also doesn't say is the ballot question had nothing to do with that. The ballot question was to give judges discretion to be able to not give bail to violent criminals, to be able to take into account history of violence and a criminal history, which you could not take into account before in New Jersey. New Jersey was a shall issue bail state. Unless you had risk of flight, you had to issue bail. Now you don't.
The judge had enough.
I'm going to be issuing a bench warrant at this time.
Ward's case comes one day after police chief in Little Egg Harbor took to Facebook, frustrated that this Megan's Law offender was released under new bail reform guidelines. Bail reform, as we saw in this Passaic courtroom, has the blessing of the courts. But with Ward arrested 3 days after his release.
If there's a person who's out there committing burglary after burglary after burglary, and they're not doing what they need to, how is law enforcement supposed to protect the community?